Are you insulin resistant? If you're not sure, keep watching. If you're in perimenopause with belly weight gain, cravings, and energy crashes, insulin resistance may be part of the picture, even if you don't eat much sugar. In this video, I'll explain the signs of insulin resistance, what to discuss with your clinician, and how I manage it using the FDN DRESS framework. Hi, I'm Mindy Kidder, and I'm a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner with over 30 years of healthcare experience. And I make these videos to help you understand what may be happening even if all your tests say you're normal. Today, we are discussing insulin resistance. As a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, I use the H.I.D.E.N hormones, immune, digestion, detoxification, energy, and nervous system framework to describe the different systems of the body that impact how it functions. The idea is to optimize these systems to allow the body to function as it should, or improve these systems to allow the body to heal naturally. For insulin resistance, it is primarily an E or energy issue, but it's also tightly connected with the N or the nervous system. This is because stress and sleep can change glucose regulation dramatically. So let's talk about the most common symptoms or signs that you may see if you're insulin resistant. Number one, cravings late in the day. So if you've ever had that after dinner craving of just needing something salty or sweet or whatever it may be, this could be a sign you're insulin resistant. Post-meal fatigue or an afternoon crash. So do you feel like shortly after you eat you're sleepy or maybe need a nap? Or maybe in the afternoon you feel like, oh, I just can't go on. This could be another sign of insulin resistance. Number three, that stubborn midsection. Many of us have it, even if we don't want to admit it. Number four, waking up in the middle of the night, say anywhere from 2 to 4 a.m. Your body is screaming it needs sugar. This is another symptom that we might be insulin resistant. The tired but wired feeling. So in the evening when it's time to wind down, do you have that feeling that you're so tired but you just can't get to sleep? Another sign. And finally, your A1C is slowly trending up, your triglycerides are up, and your HDL is down. This pattern alone proves that you might be insulin resistant. So when you go to visit your clinician, let's talk about things you should talk to them about. Number one, your A1C. What does that pattern look like over the last few years? If you don't have a pattern to look at, start getting your A1C today. This way, you can quickly tell if you're starting to see an increase over time. Number two, your fasting glucose. Has your fasting glucose been normal? Number three, your triglycerides and your HDL. This is part of that cholesterol panel that you should be getting annually with your physical. And your CMP, or your metabolic panel. This is somewhat context dependent, but this also shows your fasting glucose and some other markers that you may need to keep track of. And finally, your fasting insulin. Now, we're looking for trends and context. One of these alone cannot tell you anything. I will say it is uncommon for clinicians to order a fasting insulin, while all the others are pretty much part of the normal annual lab work. So why is a fasting insulin not usually ordered? Well, that's a good question. Someone can have an elevated insulin with a normal glucose and a normal A1C for years before they ever figure out that they have something going on. Eventually, your body just can't produce the amount of insulin that is needed to keep that blood glucose normal, and this is when the diagnosis of diabetes happens. It is much better to see the elevated insulin and start managing these lifestyle factors long before it's too late. Remember, when it comes to your health care, you are the one driving the car. The clinician is your navigator. I remember asking my clinician for a fasting insulin a few years back. The immediate response was, it's not needed. When I insisted, they finally ordered it. But they also gaslit me a bit, stating that it would not change my treatment, so they didn't see the point. Well, I get that, but I wanted it. Again, this is an example of healthcare gone wrong. Knowing your fasting insulin is just as important as knowing your blood pressure. Keep an eye on it and make sure it does not get elevated. So, as an FDN, we use the DRESS protocol to allow the body to heal naturally. DRESS stands for diet, rest, exercise, stress, and supplements. So for insulin resistance, here are some key things from a DRESS standpoint. Diet. When you think about diet, of course, when you're thinking about insulin resistance, you're thinking low carbs. Well, yes and no. So first, let's think about protein for breakfast. Have some good solid protein for the first meal of your day. Make sure that your meals are balanced. So in other words, not real heavy on carbs and real light on protein. Carbs are a small portion of your meal. Make sure that you increase the fiber gradually to help support your digestion. R for rest. Make sure you have consistent wake times. So in other words, go to bed and get up at the same time, even on the weekends. This helps to keep everything balanced. Stabilize your evening eating to reduce overnight glucose swings. This will help decrease those waking up at 2 to 4 a.m. E is for exercise. Strength training 2 to 3 times a week, being progressive but not exhaustive. You don't want to overdo it. And then if you can squeeze in a post-meal walk for about 10 minutes, this will really make a difference on your insulin and blood sugar levels. The first S is stress. Daily downshift. Reduce your always-on stimulation. In the evenings, start having a wind-down program. This could be turning off screens, turning off the TV, reading a light book, listening to some soft music, whatever works for you to actually start the whole downshifting process. Avoid using high-intensity training as stress relief, especially if you have sleep and recovery problems. The final S is supplements. Supplements can be supportive, but I prefer to look at targeted choices based on symptoms, tolerance, and clinician guidance, especially in conjunction with other things like perimenopause or autoimmunity. So, just remember, the goal is not perfection, it's stability. I work to help you stop guessing and identify your dominant drivers, then manage it with a plan you can sustain. If you are interested in discussing more, check out my website at myheartforhealth.net to schedule a call today. I'll put the link below. I would love to chat with you more. If there are other topics you would like to see videos about in the future, please feel free to put them in the comments. I would love to hear them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.